Streamlined Piano Series, Technic Step 6. This is the first time you will be taught to play the scale outside of the scale picture position. So we're going to actually put fingerings to these scales. And now that you know the notes so well, this shouldn't be as overwhelming as if you were having to learn the pattern of the notes and the fingering at the same time. So that's why we took the time to really be familiar with which notes belong in each scale. In this step, you're only going to learn the fingerings for what I call the mirror image scales. This is taken from someone I trained with called Jane Tan. So I don't claim to have come up with this on my own, but I found it very effective. I've taught for nearly 30 years and tried various ways. I've tried scale books, I've tried, but I found that she really was onto something when she teaches students to play hands together from the very beginning and to think of hands together finger patterns so that you're thinking of one pattern that correlates instead of two different fingerings in two different hands somehow at the same time, which doesn't work. So, and starting with the mirror image scales, I can't remember if that was my term or Jane Tan's, but starting with these scales first might seem odd to some people. Most people would say, we'll start with C major, there's no black keys. But I find that the fingering patterns in these mirror image scales is simpler, so I start there. Plus you're familiar with the notes already because of what I've taken you through. And then there's a more simple way of blocking these as well. So with all that aside, let's just begin. B major is the one we will do first. And what I mean by mirror image is, I'll block for you first and then show you. I'm going to have a 4 and a 1. 4 in the left hand, 1 in the right hand on B. And that seems odd, but it's so that my 2 and 3 in both hands, which are the mirror image of each other. I'm playing a 3 here and a 2 here, a 2 here and a 3 here, so it's like the mirror image of those, not matching fingers, that doesn't work. So that those line up. That's why I start with these odd fingers. So I'm going to block it so you can see this twins. Is one way Jane Tan would describe them. And then the next note, E, our thumbs will line up. And from all the white keys, no matter how many octaves we did it, our thumbs will line up on all of these mirror image scales, not just B. So that's another thing that's really nice. Twins, thumbs, and then the triplets, a mirror image of each other, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, on the black keys there. And then our thumb lines up on B if we keep going, or our 5 will play if we're done, if we're only going to do one octave. So once more, to block the pattern, try playing it with me perhaps. 4 on B, 1 on B, twins, thumbs, twins, triplets, sorry, B, triplets, thumbs on E, twins, B. Then you would practice keeping that pattern in mind while you play one note at a time. And you want to continue to use the good technique you learned when you did the scale picture position of the scales. So we're going to exaggerate our lift. Now you might be saying, am I going to forever be playing with this lifted thing? No, eventually, once we've done enough of that, we'll have the strength and the finger dexterity we need to then play very fast. And we need, though, to be able to lift our fingers and play from our fingers, not from our wrists or our arms. And so that's why I spend so much time really getting your fingers strong and able to lift and play with strength on their own without the use of the wrist or the arm. The other reason I start with these mirror scales is for speed, because when we come back around and do these with speed and think about the direction our hands travel and things to make them smooth, and we get rid of the exaggeration element. B major really is the easiest scale to play because of the way our hands are made. The thumbs drop down onto the white keys, whereas C major is actually one of the more awkward ones just because of our thumbs and them having to be on the same plane as our fingers. So B major actually feels the most comfortable to go fast in. I don't think I'm the only person who thinks that. So, okay, so let's just follow this through now to the other mirror image scales. We have D flat major, so we have twins, and it's the same twin fingerings, always includes our 2. But now we're going to have thumbs on F, triplets, thumbs on C, and then I would play, even though we're ending with D flat, go ahead and play both twins, and then come down. Triplets, F, twins. And then you would practice it after you play it that way. You do individual notes with the strong exaggerated lifts. Slow, always forte, and always exaggerated lifts, but not flat, but curved, and this strong joint that doesn't collapse. The next one, let's do G flat major. Starts with triplets. Half step, note, whole, half, right? And you can do the scale picture, just remind yourself before you play each of these, but we're going to have the triplets, then we have C flat is actually how that's spelled, and that's because we get one letter in a scale. We want one note representing every letter of the alphabet. So G flat, A flat, B flat. So we've already had B flat. We don't want B. We need the next letter. So it's C flat, D flat, E flat, F, G flat. So that has all the flats except for F. Okay, so triplet, thumbs, twins, F, and then go ahead and play the whole triplet. Go several octaves if you wanted more practice at blocking, and then individual, so legato, forte, exaggerated lifting before you play, and no collapsing. That's our goal, keeping all those things in mind. If we don't do that, if we just sloppily do it just for fingering your nose and kind of rush through them, we're going to be losing out on opportunities to be effective on multiple levels with our skill that we're developing here of playing the piano. Okay, so we've done B, D flat, G flat, F is the next one. F actually sometimes is trickier to people, even though it only has one black key, and that's just might be trickier to see the pattern of twins and triplets without those black keys to guide us. We're already grouped in twins and triplets, but the scale picture for F is this, if you remember. So to play this hands together scale fingering, I'm going to start with F in a 5 and a 1, and then the triplet is there, but only one of my triplet notes is a flat. Okay, so I'll block that, and then I'll cross under C on my white key, and then twins are both white, but they are there. The fingering is a mirror image. And then I'm going to end with a 4, which also feels funny to see people, but that's the way it is. Thumbs, triplets. Okay, so then we play each note individually. Here's my triplet. My thumbs lining up. My twins. At the end. Thumbs lining up. Triplets. Okay. Have fun practicing those. Now, you might say, well, why don't I just get a scale book? I can't remember all those notes. Yeah, you know the notes. You've already done the scale picture. As far as the fingerings, it's just twins and triplets. You don't even have to think of finger numbers, really. And it's much better to just internalize and memorize these patterns than to see them on music that you then, you move on to the next scale and you've forgotten, right? So this forces you to memorize it and really internalize it on a deeper level, to not use a scale book, and I found that much more effective over the years of teaching. Go ahead and have a scale book for reference, just to make sure you haven't forgotten something or done something wrong, sure, but don't use it daily. It becomes a crutch that's hard to remove.